A fhaighinn bhí Jeffrey dhéanú chaith cluicheadair rugby ag skipper Hamilton Shannon Goundry a heinimeachad mar Tosgaire Òg son a program Rugby Force.
A lot of rugby clubs, like speaking as like a female rugby player, a lot of clubs in Scotland, it's kind of focused around the men's senior teams, and I appreciate that because obviously they're the ones bringing in a lot of money, but it's quite difficult to like kind of get change to happen and to get numbers up in the women's game. There's still like a gap that we need to bridge, and I'm quite kind of, I like to kind of get involved with things like that, so I can see at Hamilton that there's things that I want to happen, there's things that I want to change, and I'm like, I want female rugby to kind of develop all over Scotland, and I kind of want to start at Hamilton, but it's like it's not just one place, it's a kind of continuous journey.
Tá Shannon ná fárs de bhuiinn sa program a ha an dáchas taiche chud í leasachadh an rugby ag iad Tosgaire.
Basically, Rugby Force is a select group of ambassadors. I think there's 10 of us, and basically it's to help with the development of rugby at grassroots level, and basically it means getting kind of younger people in the committee, getting younger people on hand, on site, because that's how we're going to see development and that's how we're going to see it faster. So it's given the people that have been chosen, because we'll have to apply, and we'll get training and like social media and events and things like that, and it's given us the tools so that we can walk into a committee and be like, right, this is what we need to do, this is how we need to do it.
Union a Hamilton ag Shannon sé daibh na Sharing Interclub agus cúteach a fhaighinn sin bear na gúnach clubichin ams na scírin in a dal.
I want to see better connections between like interclub relationships. I want to be able to go to a men's game at Hamilton and be like, oh, I know that person, oh, he's doing really well today, things like that. And have that kind of support there. For the other way, I want to be able to see kind of male players from the club coming to our games and knowing exactly who we are and just seeing that kind of inter-club relationship. But I also want to see that with kind of surrounding teams. So part of my application, I had said that I want to get in touch with h-obair, because they don't have a women's team, but they have a very strong girls section. In Hamilton, it's the opposite. It doesn't have a girls section, but it has a mostly developed women's team. We are still fresh, but our numbers are great and training's been excellent just now. So I feel like there's opportunity there to bridge that gap, and I imagine there's going to be kind of some obstacles, but that is my goal, to make that relationship and a kind of partnership there, if they'll let me.
Tá Shannon na smúinteann go bhfuil prógramin mar Rugby Force cútramach ana bhí a tors chorm a gúine rugby fhaighinn.
I think it's like massively important. I mean, in Scotland, obviously you've got your Super Six, but even in terms of development, a lot of players get lost. See, between that kind of moving from your unders age groups to your adults age group, a lot of players are kind of struggling because there's not that clear progression. You lose a lot of players to university or other sports, or just generally they don't really know what they want to do, so you do lose a lot of players and it just doesn't flow very well. To keep people playing rugby, there needs to be more kind of, it needs to be easier. You need to make it easier for girls to play rugby, for girls to move up to the women's section, and there just needs to be more fluidity between it, so that like it's everyone's game, and that's what we need to focus on, because it's such a positive sport and it's such a friendly environment, and we just need to make sure that continues and kind of facilitate it as much as we can.
Tá Shannon a fhaighinn leasachadh an rugby agus cúteach ortas mór san taith fó na clubichin.
I think it's developed massively, like even the support. So obviously I started playing for Stirling County, and even the support thing we used to have compared then to now, like you can see like the teams have come on leaps and bounds, and like looking at like Watsonians, for example, a lot of their players are individually sponsored, and there's a lot more funding available and a lot more support. Like, you've got more fans coming out. There's a lot more support, I would say. And it's nice to see that, because you've got people coming out to watch you play, and the club, a lot of clubs are actually stepping up and supporting their women's team more than they used to, which is nice to see. I think if we just keep going the way we're going, like, it's everyone's game, and as long as we just work together, I think it'll be excellent for the future.